Matt, thanks for joining me for the Electrical Safety Fortnight.
Sure, thanks Ross. Yeah, we're actually here to talk about some of the top 5 things that you don't know across this week, yeah.
Cool, we'll be aiming that at electrical contractors mostly?
For electrical contractors and for electrical workers. It's all important for both.
Excellent, cool. And what else are we doing for this fortnight?
There's a few other events coming up. Make sure you check out the ESO's website to check out any industry events happening in your region. I'll actually be presenting on Thursday. All right, so let's jump into our top 5. We're on to the first one, number 5. We're going to talk about some isolation and lockout procedures.
Cool, first one's number 5?
Yep, that's number 5 comes first.
Number 5 comes first.
In a countdown, we generally go 5 to 1.
Excellent. Well, the top 10 countdown from number 5 down.
That's the one.
Cool, all right, isolation, lockout, tag up.
Look, probably one of the biggest things that I see companies and workers getting wrong in regards to isolation and lockout is the use of the tag system.
Yep.
2 main tags, danger do not operate and our out of service tag. Most commonly we see the danger tag left on when people are no longer on site. That's a bit of a no-no because danger tags are only meant to be removed by the person who placed them. So the correct procedure would be to remove your danger tag if you're no longer working on the equipment and place the out of service tag there instead.
Yep. And if we want to, or if somebody does accidentally leave it on and walk away from site and we find it 6 months later?
Well, that will come down to your company procedure.
Yep.
Generally, that revolves around having a supervisor sign off on the works to be re-energised or that lock to be taken off after appropriate checking of someone who is there and can verify no one's on the end of the circuit.
Cool. Love it. So, yellow one's out of service. That can be left on when we're not on site. Red ones should only be used while we're on site. We've locked out and we're personally working on that circuit. But once we leave site, done for the day, we can take that one off and put the out of service on. What other options do we have if we don't want to put the out of service on?
You can leave the circuit completely de-energised by removing the cables out of the terminals.
Yep.
I'd still recommend leaving an out of service tag there so it's noted that potentially there is some fault on that circuit's not actually complete, ready for connection.
And pretty important to have your own personal lock on there with your own key.
It definitely is, yes.
Not a mixed one.
I'd also suggest if there is multiple people working on the circuit that everyone lock out. It's a common thing we see happening at the licensing committee.
Yep.
Is that people getting electric shocks where only one person has locked out on the circuit. I see you've got a nice little tool there.
Yeah, I travelled around the country showing people these, and the amount of people that said, I know what these are, I've seen them in my kit, but I don't know what they do or how they work, was a bit surprising and probably a bit scary actually. But yeah, one of these on top of your lockout device, put that on your breaker, nice little padlock through, and then we can put up to 6 onto this one, but we've also got other options even along the lines of a lockout box that we could put the key into. So you could lock out onto the breaker, put the key into a lockout box, and then have, I think, up to 20 some boxes have, don't they?
It can do, yes. So a great way to have everyone involved in that lockout procedure. Make sure you're involving your apprentices in that procedure as well. Get them used to having their locks put on and used to how it works.
Yeah, well, as you said, probably one of the most common things you see is the apprentices getting shocks from someone turning on when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're still working on it or still playing with it and getting those shocks through it. So what else we got? Anything coming up with, have you had anything recently coming up where these have been, probably would have saved somebody?
Definitely. There is a number of incidents that came through the licensing committee recently where apprentices did receive electric shocks, unfortunately, because they hadn't locked on. There was only one lock on the circuit and that had been re-energised and the apprentice unfortunately received an electric shock out of it.
So personal lock probably should be on yourself all the time. I know my tool belt, I used to keep one on it all the time with the key in it so that we didn't have to go hunting for one. Easy to throw one on. One of these can almost live on it, couldn't it?
That's right.
And then if you're working on another circuit, if somebody else is working on it with you, always make sure you chuck one of these on as well so that everyone does. Just means that if you want to turn power back on or somebody wants to turn it back on and you're still working on it, that won't be able to happen because they'll have to come and find you.
That's right.
And get you to take your own lock off
right.
as well.
I think a really good takeaway for that or a motto to keep in mind is everyone's trying to kill you, so don't let them. Have your own lock on that system so you can keep yourself safe.
Actually, one of the first things my tradesperson told me when I started my apprenticeship was don't trust anybody when it comes to isolation. Make sure you test for yourself, and obviously as an apprentice, make sure you're getting supervised while you do test, and then put your lockout on at the end.
Absolutely. Now, if your company doesn't have their own policies on these at the moment, you could reference, there's a great code of practice called Managing Electrical Risks in the Workplace. You can download that from the ESO website. You can review that with your workers, review that with yourself to have a policy set up for your company.
And I think there's some good information in 4836 as well, isn't there?
Yes, I believe there is.
A bit of isolation stuff there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well, thanks. That was our first number 5 done.
Thank you.
Now remember, this Friday we've got a barbecue happening at L&H Caboolture from 6 a.m. You can come along. Ross and I will be there to have a bit of a recap on all of these questions and answers that we're putting out now, and you can answer any questions that you have on the day. So thank you.
Thanks. Cheers, guys.